What is the connection between Bahamas and Ghana?
Our DNA comes from Ghana. So through research, we found out that the Bahamian people originated from Ghana.
So the question is
Mhm.
therefore, how do we connect more among ourselves?
We need to develop that.
How do we do businesses among ourselves? How do we visit more?
Right now, we're making plans to come to Ghana.
For a very long time, you don't have a direct flight from Africa to the Caribbean.
And we have to go through UK or through New York or one of the states.
There is one flight, direct flight, that started not too long ago from Ghana to I think Bahamas or one of these Caribbean countries.
And I think that's because the amount of people that are traveling hasn't been such an increase that it became an important thing to do.
Tell me about what you might describe as complexity or complacency on Earth.
We don't know anything about Africa.
You are also Africa, whether you are in New York or in Paris, as long as you are an African. If Africans in Africa are animal, it means they are animal in Africa, you are animal in New York.
Yeah.
Better join your animal and do this, organize yourself as animal people so that you can occupy your space. All right, Melissa, thank you so much for joining me in this conversation. Now, could you start by telling me a bit about yourself, and then we will pick it up from there.
Okay.
Now, yeah, you can go.
All right. Okay. I am Melissa Darville. I was an educator for 18 years. I taught science and math, information technology, primarily for primary school grades, but I'm certified birth through grade 6. So I did that for 18 years. I opened up my own special needs school, and I did that for 11 years. And that was a project from the heart because I saw while I was teaching that there were students whose needs were not being met in the regular school curriculum and the day setting, and they needed a pull-out program who could just focus on just the base skills. So I did that for 11 years. And then when it got heavy on my heart, because it's very hard dealing with individual learning plans and children with special needs. So I did my best. And then after 11 years, I had to close the school and I started making ice cream. So now I was always doing home ec with the kids and doing little projects like that with the kids. And so I said, let me try with ice cream. And so just from home, I had a little $300 tabletop ice cream machine at home, just experimenting with recipes. I was able to get that into a full-fledged distribution, having 40 stores all over the Bahamas. And then last year, I actually franchised the business in the US. And so I have not opened any stores as yet, but I have it franchised. All the paperwork is done. So now my job is to get on the road and start selling franchises. So that's my journey. So right now, I was on this last year. I've been taking sort of a rest period to educate myself on trade and trade shows. And somehow it led me into the word cooperation. And so from there, myself and two of my friends, now I can call them friends, but I just met them in September, who had similar ideas on cooperation and the collective and people working together. And so we formed a group. And right now we have about 88 people within our group. And we have designed a trade show that's going to be in April in Accra, Ghana. So everything has just rolled into something else, but it all still has the same passion, which is helping people and reaching out and solving the problems that hurt us.
All right. Thank you so much for that, Melissa. That is a lot there. That is a lot that need to be unpacked. And they are really very interesting. Okay, now this is what we do. I was just telling you before we started to record just now that everything is part of everything.
Mhm.
And the first of everything now is your story. I'm going to dig a little bit more there because that is interesting for me
Okay.
as a person of African descent. So you're a young girl growing up in the Bahamas, correct?
Say it again.
You grew up in the
I grew
Bahamas,
up in the
correct?
Bahamas. Yes, I went to boarding school in Toronto for 2 years, and then I went to university in Miami for 4 years, and then I lived in Philly for like a year, and then I came home to work. I left
All
home
right.
about
Yeah.
15. I left home about 15, and then I came home when I was married, and with my first child, I came back home.
All right. That's interesting. That's interesting to learn. Okay. Now, I want to believe that there are some things that people don't know about the Bahamas, which is your country of origin, in the Caribbean. So, what do you want people to know about Bahamas?
Well, the Bahamas has 700 islands and keys. It has the most beautiful water in the world that you can see all the way up from space. Our main industry is tourism, and we are very friendly people. We love to laugh. We have great food. We have great fishing waters, and our coral reefs are the most beautiful in the world. We have blue holes. We have one of the largest blue holes in the world is actually in the island where my father is from, Long Island. And so we're just a bunch of friendly people. We love to eat and we love to party. And we have a festival called Junkanoo, which is what every Bahamian loves. And it actually originated in Ghana.
Lovely,
Mhm.
lovely. What is the connection between Bahamas and Ghana? There is this very strong love that I'm reading in the air.
Yes, our DNA comes from Ghana. So through research, we found out that the Bahamian people originated from Ghana. And so we have been adopted as a sister city. And we found out that our national festival, which we call Junkanoo, is actually named after one of the warriors or revivalists who was in Ghana, Junkanoo. I can't remember the correct pronunciation of the name, but it came to us down as Junkanoo. And actually, one of the festivals that you have there is very similar to our festival. All of our drum beats are right back from African rhythms and our parades. So the culture, it's easy to see when you look at the culture of the Bahamas that it is a direct lineage of what was happening in Ghana and the culture of Ghana. So that's why there's all this love between Ghana and the Bahamas, because that's where we originated from.
That's lovely. That is so lovely. That is so important. It sort of touch into what we are working on. The project is not yet open to the full participation, but of course we are working on it behind the scene. It's called DMT, where we are actually trying to connect the African diaspora and those at home. Because I think the right word that we need right now is connection. We need to be able to connect. And of course, this is based on my research of having interviewed more than 1,000 people within the diaspora. These are, of course, ordinary people too, but a lot of them are scholars, business people, individuals who are working within the community, who have asked a number of occasions about this question of connection among ourselves. We are more than 200 million people in the diaspora, so we certainly represent a huge force. So I think people in Africa, realities in Africa, economies in Africa, businesses in Africa, and countries in Africa are interested in these over 200 million people. So the question is therefore, how do we connect more among ourselves? How do we do businesses among ourselves? How do we visit more? You see, for a very long time, you don't have a direct flight moving from Africa to the Caribbean. I think the first one, I don't know whether it's the Bahamas and Ghana that just started. I don't know. I don't want to make a mistake on that. But there is one flight, direct flight, that started not too long ago from Ghana to, I think, Bahamas or one of these Caribbean countries. So what I'm saying is that it's really very important that today we should be encouraging this idea of connecting and interconnecting between the diaspora and African motherland. It's like you wanted to say something about that. Please go.
Say it again.
No, I mean, it's like you wanted to say something about that.
Okay. Yes. Well, I think it was Ethiopian Air, from what I understood, that had a flight. But we need to develop that, because like right now we're making plans to come to Ghana, the Bahamas and the Caribbean, and we have to go through UK or through New York or, one of the states in order to get to Ghana. So I don't think we have it fully established as yet. And I think that's because the amount of people that are traveling hasn't been such an increase that it became an important thing to do. So I think with all of the businesses and the connections and all of the tourism starting, we could get the airlines to understand that we do need some direct flights connecting us. And it's true. It's not just the Caribbean. It's all of America, it's all over Europe, because we were scattered, we were scattered so much. And by connecting and going home, as I'm going to call it, when you go home, I think there's going to be a healing in it.